Deltarune tomorrow. Okay, so groundbreaking theory here, but what if Ralsei isn't what we think they are? My grandfather taught high school English for 40 years, and his favorite unit to teach was on J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit, which is the predecessor to The Lord of the Rings. He would always show his students the awful animated version of The Hobbit and swear up and down that the whole series would be live action someday. And he loved the live action Peter Jackson films. I used to sit on his knee and watch all of the fight scenes while he'd play banjo. Wait, is my grandfather Gerson Boom? Welcome to my study. Feel free to grab a drink, find a floor pillow, and listen to my long tale. My name is Savannah Stonecrow, but you can call me Savvy, and I love Deltarune almost as much as I love Gerson Boom. Let's get into it. I've played Deltarune 5 times and even made the student I tutor play it in place of reading an actual book. I'm so excited to see where the rest of the story goes, but naturally I found details, evidence, and questions without answers. Things that could change how we see Deltarune as a whole, if we just paid a little extra attention. In connecting the dots, I have formed a brand new theory, presenting the Scribes Parchment. Before we get started, though, I have a few things to acknowledge first. This video, of course, will have spoilers for Deltarune Chapters 1 through 4 and Undertale's Waterfall. Further, throughout this video, I will be using she, her, and they, them pronouns for Ralsei, as I subscribe to the theory that Ralsei will be revealed to be trans-feminine in the future chapter. I know this isn't a popular theory, but I do like it, and I hope it's a small detail that will not turn you away from this video. Happy Pride Month, by the way! My girlfriend, creamsicle-art on Tumblr, made the sopping wet Ralsei in the thumbnail, so if you like it, please give her some love. She really deserves it. It's 6 p.m. on a Friday, and I am rapidly playing Deltarune for a 4th time. I need to finish the chapter tonight. While I'm playing, I'm making a worksheet for my student, asking him to analyze the themes and character motivations for each chapter. I never expected him to get past chapter 1, but he really loved it, so I need to hurry and get this worksheet out. As I'm writing questions and coming to terms with potential answers, I realized that there are a lot of open-ended threads, things that will hopefully be resolved in future chapters, but might fray if ignored. I came up with a list of questions and observations, some that you might have had yourself. First, Ralsei has extremely low, concerningly low, get a therapist please, low self-esteem. Both Ralsei and Gerson Boom believe that the prophecy can be changed. Is the prophecy, as presented in The Legend and in Chapter 4, the true prophecy? Aside from being the prince of the prophecy, how does Ralsei know anything about the prophecy when other Darkners don't? What even qualifies Ralsei to be the prince alone in deepest dark? Is it necessary for the prince to be the bearer of the prophecy? Why is there a fountain in the school supply closet? How did it get there, and how does nobody notice it? Let's break it down further. First, Ralsei's insecurities indicate that she is an abandoned object, much like Spamton or Tenna, who are also cripplingly insecure. I wonder if Ralsei will have similar traits to our 3 abandoned items, namely Jevil, Spamton, and Tenna, such as being a shadow crystal holder, valuing freedom, desiring appreciation or recognition, and being given power by either the dark world itself or an outside force. When we meet Ralsei, she begs Chris and Susie to be kind as they go through the dark world in their search for the fountain, According to Ralsei, there's some sort of awful, terrible fate that might be averted if enemies are spared, and if Chris performs acts of kindness. Gerson, or more specifically, Old Man, believes that prophecies don't have to be followed. One can cut corners, take a more desirable route, or simply ignore it. Gerson believes that each generation can control their own ending if they so choose. By the way, do you think that Gerson, as Old Man, is more like Force Ghost Yoda, in that it is the real ghost of Gerson, or do you believe that's more like Theodore Roosevelt from The Night at the Museum, where he knows that he's not real and not the real Gerson, and knows about the achievements and accomplishments of Gerson, but also knows that he himself isn't Gerson and hasn't done any of those amazing things?
Gotcha! Smile, my boy. It's sunrise.
Please, put your take in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Speaking of the prophecy, there's one thing that I haven't seen any theorists point out yet. And I've watched a lot of theories. In the church foyer, there is a shelf filled top to bottom, front to back with copies of The Lord of the Hammer. But we don't see any other religious books or even hymnals at all inside the church. In fact, the closest we get to a religious book in all of Deltarune is a hymnal in the Dreamer household. Toby Fox is very intentional about the flavor text he writes to build lore, backstory, world build, and drop clues. In the 2.5 chapter for Dark Worlds, I believe that all of the panels, except for 2, are actually reflecting the Lord of the Hammer books in this one shelf, rather than the true prophecy. Why else would we learn that all Darkners and Dark World objects have direct relations to Light World items? Besides, why do we theorists take the panels as gospel truth when they are clearly inconsistent, written by multiple authors, and not completely congruent with the events we see throughout chapters 1 through 4, something that no real-world religion has ever done? The 2 non-prophecy, non-Lord of the Hammer panels are the pointy-headed one will say toothpaste and then boy, and Jockington grows the beard. These panels are the only ones that directly show a character. They are in different art styles to the rest of the cryptic panels, and they are probably drawn in a hymnal by a bored Susie and maybe Caddy or Snowy or Jockington, respectively. Aside from Ralsei, most Darkners don't seem to have a clue about the prophecy. There are some exceptions, of course, but clearly Ralsei is special. We learned from Sham that Darkners in the classroom see the Lightners as gods, as creators. Some Darkners, such as King, feel abandoned by the Lightners, by their so-called gods, and desires revenge against them. We later learn from King that he never actually met the Knight, and he never mentions the Roaring. We don't even know if the Knight created the classroom dark fountain or if it's overflow from or to the closet dark room. We do know that when Jevil attained enlightenment and joined the chaos side, Jevil then informed the King about the Knight and possibly the Roaring. King decides only to capture the Lightners because he feels it serves the Knight, presuming that their goals are aligned in destroying the world the Lightners hold dear, thus exacting his revenge. Queen, of course, in Chapter 2, tells us directly that she witnessed the Knight make the fountain, and saw that it brought Lightners into her dark world. As a computer and/or the internet, she naturally has the desire to capture the attention of all Lightner users, thus making them her royal subjects and servants, and wants to fill the whole world with fountains, extending her domain. She is extremely surprised to even learn about the Roaring, and backs down almost immediately once Ralsei informs her that it will doom her too. In Chapter 3, only Iram and Tenna are aware of the Knight at all, and Tenna has been given a deal by the Knight or Chris to ensure that the Fun Squad remains trapped and cannot prevent the roaring. It is unclear whether or not Tenna knows about the prophecy outside of Glacier on Board 2. The only other Darkner in this dark world with any indication of spiritual awareness is the Shutta found in Board 2's back rooms. The Darkners in Chapter 4 only know directly what they have overheard or what they have seen on the prophecy panels. Most of these Darkners do not indicate awareness of the roaring. Their awareness of religion seems to begin and end in ancestor worship and panel readings. A school supply closet, in theory, should be used frequently by the 2 remaining teachers at Hometown's 4-classroom schoolhouse. As a teacher myself, I can tell you that teachers do not get paid enough to provide all 9 of their students with supplies out of pocket. I can see Toriel doing it, but let's be real, Alphys is not experienced nor organized enough to know that she'd need extra supplies. While it's not clear what point in the school year Deltarune takes place, or if the school follows the American school schedule, it is clear that Deltarune takes place during the autumn, due to the yellow trees, and at the very least is an American-inspired schoolhouse. It is likely that Hometown School might have a summer vacation, and according to Alvin Boom in Chapter 2, it's been a few years since Gerson died. Alphys, being Gerson's replacement, probably hasn't been thriving off of his remaining classroom supplies for at least 2 years. I go through expo markers at an alarming rate, and chalk isn't particularly known for lasting too long, especially dry on dry. Assuming that the fountain in the closet was open no earlier than the middle of May, and that most teachers need replenished supplies at some point before the 2nd month of school, Deltarune must take place somewhere between August and the beginning of October, meaning that this dark world is likely less than 5 months old. And again, that's assuming that there is an American-style summer vacation at Hometown School. Depending on how long the abandoned classroom has been, well, abandoned, it is possible that supplies were briefly kept there instead, but I don't see that being the case, given that the Darkners and the Card Kingdom seem to believe that it's been a disproportionate amount of time since they were last used or visited by the Darkners. When we enter this classroom, it is mostly untouched, and there is an old drawing of a turtle signed by Alvin, hanging on the door of a shelving unit. Could this be Gerson's old classroom? Was it locked up and abandoned when he died? Could he have died inside? Did his death spark the events leading to a fountain occurring here? There is a door between this classroom and the supply closet, and it's possible that the darkness in this room leaked out into the supply closet. After all, we don't know if the Card Kingdom has a naturally occurring dark fountain or one created by the night, but we do know that darknesses can be split between connecting rooms. Now you might be hearing all of this and asking how it connects to the sopping wet goat in the thumbnail, and I promise there is a connection between Ralsei and Gerson Boom that stretches before Chapter 4. Because there is one penultimate question that has not yet been answered. What is Ralsei? That they know so much about the prophecy. And what gives her the right or the power to be the prophecy bearer? Or does Ralsei even know the true prophecy at all? What if I told you that Ralsei is actually the collection of Gerson Boom's abandoned rough drafts for Chapter 7? Gerson Boom was a teacher for the upper grades in Hometown's singular 4-classroom school. He loved exploring story structure with his students and would often use his expertise in history and world religion to write in his spare time. As a teacher myself, I can confirm that an experienced teacher will have times of the year in which there aren't any lesson plans to make or update, and not as many papers to grade. Especially in a 2-classroom school without a defined admin team to pester you into submitting new lesson plans every week, write today's learning standards on the board, and create daily busy work. And oh my gosh, there's so much daily busy work. Please, they don't need this much. The American schooling system is in shambles, and no ultra heal can fix it. No, an experienced teacher like Gerson is less likely to constantly lecture and assign worksheets than to assign essays, research, and group projects, giving him more time to write during class, prep, and lunch. There is a real-world precedent for this. Rick Riordan, Stephen King, J.R.R. Tolkien, and C.S. Lewis are just a handful of examples of teachers or professors who became famous writers by writing when they were supposed to be teaching. Tolkien even intentionally gave boring lectures in hopes that his students would skip class so that he could write more. He was apparently very frustrated by the students who did show up. As any beloved teacher will tell you, though, students in admin love to encroach on your free time, and some days, your best option is to lock the door, hide on the floor, and hit the lights or hide out in the copier room. I find it 100% believable that Gerson hid out in the supply closet to write and find some peace. As Lord of the Hammer grew in popularity, he felt the pressure to make a grand ending that pleased his publisher and audience. But did it please him? How could he resolve this story in such a way that builds on the prophecy in a compelling way and doesn't disappoint anyone? Some authors in this situation might choose a twist ending, like Arthur Conan Doyle, who, spoilers for Sherlock Holmes, killed off Sherlock Holmes in his last book, before reviving him years later for one final hurrah. Gerson felt the responsibility to give his young readers and his students hope. After ending the series in a tragedy, a decision that swallowed the author whole, he may have tried to write a 7th chapter in which hope reigns over death and destruction, in which kindness changes the ending. He crumples draft after draft. It's just not right. Every outline too close to the original prophecy, not hopeful enough, not kind, not meaningful in any way, before smoothing out the papers and shoving them in a green folder wrapped closed with a red ribbon. He keeps the folder hidden on a shelf in the supply closet, stuck in the dark, never to see the light of day. One day he thinks it will be ready. One day, the stress of writing the perfect ending gets to him. He drops his pen to the ground. A fountain rises up, but he stumbles out of the supply closet, closing the door behind him, crumpling to the ground himself. A heart attack, over faster than it started. And poor little Ralsei, the discarded drafts, never had the chance to see her creator again. Burdened with knowledge, burdened with misplaced hope, feeling abandoned, forgotten, alone. The closet, or the classroom, remains unopened. It's near the end of the year. Who needs anything extra? A man has just died. Asriel graduates, years pass. The school is vacant. Ralsei is alone. Now, it's hard to say how much interaction Darkners experience from Lightners when the light is on, but evidence from Chapter 3 indicates that Darkners are always and intimately watching. We could even extrapolate from Chapter 4 that Darkners can interact with and leave an impact on the light world, to an extent. What happens in the dark does not stay in the dark. It's possible that little Ralsei, who was going to be the best little story ever, by the way, watched her creator die, her closet locked, closed, and abandoned. The summer passes. 2.5 months feel like a long, long time. For a little fluffy girl alone in the dark, years go by. The closet rarely interacted with, the classroom closed and shut and dark, darker yet darker. But the Lightners would surely be back, right? And when they did come back, Ralsei would be ready to tell them all about her story. And the story she was always meant to tell. A story full of hope. A story full of light. As she practiced and practiced, she began to believe that perhaps she is the very hero, the prince she is proclaiming will come at the world's end. After all, her story is based on the prophecy, right? That means it's 100% true and will come to pass, right? And Gerson created her with the intent to save the world, right? She can be a Prince of the Dark and lead with hope to change the ending of Chapter 6, but to do so, she must convince the Lightners with her story first. And so she sits in the darkness and practices, and waits, and practices, and waits for the next generation to pick up the white pen of hope and help her finish the story. One final piece of evidence, if you did not yet believe that Ralsei is a discarded rough draft, abandoned by Gerson upon his death, is that in Undertale, at Waterfall, Gerson can sell you a weapon. A very powerful weapon at that. Certainly the most powerful weapon you have had access to so far. Not that you, a good little pacifist, would ever need a weapon like that. No. Gerson Boom, famed historian, hammer of justice, sells you a torn notebook. Ralsei is a discarded draft. Thank you. Thank you so much for hearing my theory. I have been so excited to share my theory that Gerson created Ralsei and that Ralsei is the draft of the Lord of the Hammer. This is my first theory video and I didn't know if I should release it so close to Chapter 5. I mean, everything is going to be disproven within like a week. I've watched a lot of theory videos, and I've realized that there are still some details that I haven't seen anyone discussing. I mean, I guess when you have a bat, everything looks like a friend. Or a gaster. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe, hit that bell, and leave a comment. I am planning on a sister theory to this about the true prophecy and the Lord of the Hammer, and have been considering a brief critique of Alphys's teaching practices. If I get 500 subscribers, I would also like to make a cover of Asgore's theme. I'm not sure if this will purely be a Deltarune Theory channel. I may also record a playthrough of the game, or even delve into other games like Ghost Trick and Stardew Valley. I really enjoyed theory crafting with you and hope you have a nice rest of your day. Stay fresher than a fresh and fragrant egg.